Like a lot of people, I enjoy watching gaming entertainment, and one of the things I think I find so appealing about it is the plethora of subgenres available, from Let's Plays to speed runs to those 100 days challenges to more narrative-driven playthroughs. I mean, we're kind of spoiled for choice when it comes to gaming content. But recently I've noticed another flavor of gaming video popping up on my recommended with increasing frequency, and that is starting a forever world. The premise is simple. You basically start a new world and then continuously expand that world over time, going back to build upon it for, well, ever, as the name implies. And this got me wondering, can you take that concept of a forever world and apply it to a crochet project? So if I'm going to start a never-ending crochet project that will theoretically last forever, I think I need to establish a basic outline, set myself a few ground rules so I don't get too in over my head as I am wont to do sometimes. Criteria number 1. This project is going to be constructed entirely from scrap yarn. You know, sort of crocheting as much as I do, scrap is not a scarce resource around here, and I am always looking for new uses for it. Number 2, this project needs to be one piece. I don't want to make something that is multiple parts and then have to construct them later on. Number 3, the pattern itself has to be something simple and repetitive. You know, the kind of crochet project where you can turn your brain off and just let that muscle memory take over. And number 4 is I want to continuously expand it. It needs to be a project that I can drop, come back to weeks or months later, and very easily add to it. So having listed all those criteria, you've probably come up with a couple of ideas yourself of what this sort of project could look like. I know I certainly did when I was brainstorming it. The top 2 ideas I sort of had was just like a basic granny stitch blanket, you know, worked in the square. And the second one I had was one of those star point blankets. You can get like 9 point, 12 point, etc., etc. And despite those being sort of the top 2 choices at the time, I'm not going to go with either of them. I'm going to do one that is similar to the granny square blanket, but I want to start off with a granny rectangle blanket just because I think I would prefer that shape when this project is finished, but the whole idea behind this concept is to not finish it. But I think you know what I mean. I prefer to have like a rectangle shape project than a square one at this stage. And also I've already made granny square blankets, so I want to mix things up a little bit. So with that established, let's get into things. This here, excuse the crinkly plastic noises. This here is one of my scrap bags. This is what I call skein remnants. I tend to break my scrap yarn down into 3 categories. There's offcuts, which are these things, little bits you snip off after you've weaved in an end or you've sewn a piece, something like that. I use those as stuffing sometimes. Then there is this, which is the skein remnants, the leftovers after you've almost finished a skein, but there's like, I don't know, 2 to 5 grams of the skein left. And then over in my other bag here, I have my scrap yarn, which is more full skeins. They're just skeins that I will use to make prototypes. They're not the highest quality stuff, so that's why they're in that bag. But for this project, I want to be focusing mostly on the remnants. So yeah, I think we're set. We've got the yarn we're going to use. We've got the hook. We just need to get started. I want to start off with some black yarn, just because I don't know if any of you saw what was probably last week's video, but my black cat, she passed away. So I want to start off with darker colours in the middle of my project just for her. I haven't done a granny stitch rectangle in a very long time, so hopefully I can remember how this starts off. Oh well, if I bugger it up, I suppose there's some frogging in my future. And obviously, this project is intended to be a forever project, one I just keep coming back to over the years. But that sort of poses a bit of a problem when it comes to video creation, because how am I supposed to make a video out of a project that never ends? How I'm going to do this is basically take you guys on a journey over the first week of making my forever crochet project. And then as time goes by, if anyone's interested, I can just, drop some updates about it. I think that's the way to do this. What's that saying? A journey of 1,000 kilometers starts with a single step. Well, in this case, the journey of a forever crochet project starts with a week of crochet. Yep. Put that on a t-shirt. And then I'm just going to slip stitch to finish off, and I think I did that correctly. Well, I mean, it's rectangle shape. That's what I wanted. What I don't remember, however, is, do I keep working in continuous rounds, or is this one of those patterns where you turn it? I'm just going to keep working in continuous rounds. It's my project. I'll do what I want. But now that I've completed the first round, I'm going to bring in my second color. I'll get down here so I'm actually talking to you. While this project, the overarching project, is not going to have any particular pattern or theme that I'm working towards, I think I will break it up into individual themes. So for example, I did start off this round in the black for Bella, and because it's for her, I'm going to continue on. So my next round will be in green. I've got a couple of these like neonish greens. Who knew I had so much neon green yarn? Where did this even come from? That's going to represent her eyes. She had green eyes. So for the first however many rounds, and that's probably going to be like today's work on this project, I'm just going to alternate between the black and the green. That way, not only will this be a forever project that I can, continuously sink scrap yarn into, but also it'll be its own sort of preservation of memories. I can even keep a list of why I picked certain colors. And I think in years to come, that might be nice to look back upon. Oh dear. We've just started and we're already playing a very tense game of yarn chicken. Although I suppose when you're working with little bits of scrap, that's got to be expected. Come on, let me finish this. Let me finish this, please. I don't think you're going to let me finish this. I'm going to do my best to put in at least, a few rounds each day. It's really just time dependent, though. I would like to have a decent sized piece to show you guys here at the end of this video and for the remainder of this project, because again, this is supposed to last forever, theoretically. It's probably not going to be something I do daily. It'll be one of those things that I return to every so often. Sometimes you just need that mindless crochet project, when your hands are idle and you want something to occupy them, but nothing that's too sort of, what's the best word, sort of intensive. You don't need to focus on it too much. You can just kick back, relax, and let your hands do their thing. That's what this kind of project is supposed to be all about. With that complete, I am going to weave in all of my ends. I don't want to, but I know that I should. And I'm going to be more annoyed at the end if I leave, well, I keep saying at the end, but theoretically there is no end. But I'm going to be more annoyed later on if I leave them all for then, so I will do that now. I'm also going to start a document and keep track of what each of my colours represent. So again, this is in memory of Bella, and I don't know what I'm going to do tomorrow. We'll figure that out then. Not all of my colours will necessarily correspond to something. I might just want to use up a skein, or I just might feel like going with a certain colour or colour combination on the day. But for the rounds that do have some significance, I do want to keep track of those. So I'll get that done. And yeah, that's all I'm going to do on this today. So I will see you guys in a few seconds for you, but it'll be tomorrow for me. Yesterday I completed rounds 1 to 9, I think. And I'm going to continue on with my Forever project today. Because I did those rounds in memory of Bella, I would like to then do however many rounds in memory of my grandpa. And I picked out, because we ended up going through his clothes a few days ago, and I have one of his jackets here. So I thought I would try to match these colours as closely as I could. So today we're going to be working with black, dark blue, cream, some light, maybe fawny browns, and then maybe a couple of darker shades of brown. I'll have to consult the scrap bag and see what I've got to work with. But we'll put that up there. I might even have to dig some out of my other scrap bag for this. So I think that's certainly enough to get me started. I say, as I continue to dig through the bag. On the very top of my other scrap bag, I found this. I just put that in there the other day because I found it in a drawer, as you do. I have no idea where it's from or how long it's been there, but now it's going to be part of a blanket. Black was the last row I crocheted there. Then how do I want to do this? Maybe black, dark. You know what? I'm going to move the camera so you can see what I'm doing. So what if I go black, then blue, then dark brown, light brown, cream, and then repeat. I might have been a bit ambitious getting all of this yarn out. I've crocheted 4 rounds of my current theme so far, and I've still got some of the bigger skeins that I grabbed out left. I might do another round in each of these colours, and then I'll determine if I want to move on to the next theme or not, because yes, I did grab out like all of my browns, all of my blacks, all of my dark blues. And while I could use them up for this part, I may want to keep some in reserve in case I need those colours as part of another theme, like later on. Well, because the first 2 themes of my Forever blanket sort of trended towards the depressing a little bit, I'm going to go with something fun for my 3rd theme. And I've chosen to, don't crinkle, that loud plastic crinkling noise is so annoying, but I've chosen to go with the colours blue, purple, red and white. And they are the colours of the little characters, this one and this one, that myself and my sister use when we do our gaming. We're actually in the process of setting up a gaming channel. It's a very long process. We haven't really worked on it much the last several weeks, but hopefully we'll have time to get back into it soon. I have no idea when or even if this is actually going to eventuate, but it's fun working on it anyway. And yeah, so my little dino character that I have is, you know, blue and purple. They're sort of, you know, my colors, if you couldn't tell that from my like subtle decorating touch. And my sister's little wolf is red and white. Well, I've just finished the red round, which is the final round of my sort of game avatar themes. And while I was crocheting this, I was trying to think of what I wanted to do for the next theme in this project. But I don't have to worry about that now, because this morning my niece saw this and, you know, she asked me what it was. I explained it to her. And then she demanded that I add in a pink round. Who am I to say no to a 3-year-old? This is the yarn she chose, and I don't know how well it's going to show up on camera, but it is pink and sparkly. So that is going to be my next theme. While this yarn wasn't technically part of my scrap stash over here, it was in a bag of yarns that I wanted to use up anyway, so I've sort of just including that as part of the scrap stash over here. It counts on a technicality. The pink is finite, but of course, if I'm going to include a colour from one of my nibblings, I have to be fair and ask the others if they would like their favourite colours included. So I did reach out and ask them what colours they would like, and the responses I got in order were rainbow, green, and purple. Another progress update. I've just spent like the last half an hour weaving in all of my ends from the previous 2 themes. And something that I didn't consider is, because most of that yarn is just like little skein remnants, there's not much of it. As this thing grows in size, I'm going to have to weave in increasingly more ends, because the yarn only lasts like a certain number of stitches. So that should be fun going forward. But anyway, going into today, I didn't really have a solid idea for what sort of theme I wanted to incorporate into my forever project. So what I did was just sorted through my scrap bags and see if anything stood out to me. And luckily something did. I have picked out some yarns that I can use to commemorate specific projects I've made. So for example, this is the leftovers from my blanket jacket that I made in this video. This one here is the only remaining skein from my first ever clothing project, which was my Stitches inspired hoodie. But then I also have this yarn, and this I use to make my Halloween mixed media scrap diorama thing. If you're interested, I'll put all the links to these videos down in the description so you can check them out and see what I'm talking about. Yep, definitely not making this one. I lost yarn chicken with the brown yarn too. Let me see where. Yep. So I had to finish off this much of the brown in a different yarn. But the thing is, I don't know if I've got any more of this sort of the burnt orange colour left, or even anything similar. So let's have a dig through the scrap bag. So yeah, I know I've got this brighter orange, a little bit of that, but yeah, there's more bright. Oh, hang on a second. There is this. I don't think there's very much of it. No, it's literally just that, but I can still use it. But there's also this, which is a little bit brighter than I'd like, but it might be my only option. I mean, that's the risk you run when you're using just scrap yarn. Although there is this, it's quite a bit thinner than the yarn I was using. I mean, that's definitely a better match than the orange I previously pulled out. I wonder if that'll get me to the finish line. We're gonna have to hope it does, because I don't think I've got anything else in here. I'll use this up anyway. I'm probably only gonna get, you know, half a dozen or so stitches out of it, but it might just be a nice little buffer just in case like this isn't enough to get me over the finish line. Having this here might help towards that end. We got there with just a little bit of that orange yarn to spare. Where is it? So I've got a tiny little bit I can use up later. And while I remember, I'm going to add my theme to my ever-growing list, because if I don't do that now, chances are I'll probably forget. And then in a couple of weeks, I'll be like, what color did that represent again? So I better put it down while I remember. All right, now I'm just gonna weave in my ends, because I've been really good this time about weaving in my ends as I go. But I'll do that off camera. You guys don't need to see that boring part. And then hopefully tomorrow I'll be able to get in another theme. I'm really, at the moment, sort of struggling to come up with themes, because I do want these rounds to have some meaning. I mean, I'm under no illusions here. This really is just a scrap blanket, let's be totally honest. But it is a scrap blanket that I want to, you know, associate with memories or projects. Just have some sort of meaning to it. And again, as is the point of this entire project, to be able to go on for as long as I want it to. Not sure what I'm going to do tomorrow yet, but that's tomorrow's problem. Last night I was low-key stressing about what theme I was going to include on my Forever project today. And it didn't occur to me until this morning that there was an option available to me. I've been just so busy and honestly just mentally exhausted over the last several weeks that I almost forgot it was my puppy's birthday today. So happy birthday, Jasper. He is turning 3 today, and I will give him all the love and attention he deserves for that. I mean, not that that's really different from any other day, but because it's his birthday today, I am going to include his coat colours on my Forever project. He's not the most vibrantly coloured dog. He's just a basic black and white. So that's just going to be today's theme. Black and white for Jasp. I think someone heard their name, didn't they? Yes, I think someone heard their name. Come here. Yes, you're the birthday boy. You're the birthday boy. No, I can't play now. I'm going to crochet your colours into the blanket. Oh. You silly boy. You're a silly boy. Come here. Settle down. Settle down. Don't knock all my stuff. You're going to knock all my stuff. The puppy has returned to his spot on the couch. I think he's enjoying the sunshine, which has been kind of a rare occurrence the last few weeks, just being winter now and all. If I have calculated correctly, which I have no confidence that I have, but I think I am up to my last theme for this video. Like some of my previous themes, I did have a bit of difficulty, you know, coming up with something that like resonated with me, but eventually I did settle on an idea. It's potentially slightly depressing, but I'm hoping to turn that around and make it something, if not like outright happy, then at least bittersweet. Because my nana in a very short period of time, is going to be moving interstate. She's moving up to Queensland, so that's north of where we are now, mainly for like health reasons, just because it's a lot warmer up there. And this project that I'm working on is maybe the last, or at least one of the last projects I'll likely ever be able to show her in person. So I'm going to include a theme to just like commemorate her move up north. Now, Queensland is known for its sun, its sand, its surf. So the colors I've chosen to represent that are just a nice blue and yellow. Some nice summer vibes for those of us southern hemisphere dwellers who are in the middle of winter at the moment. I don't know if I want to use this yarn. This is honestly just awful yarn to crochet with. Maybe I should set that aside and just cut it up for stuffing. I do have another light blue that I could use. I don't know, I'll grab that light blue. I'd much prefer to work with that. This might be a good choice for another reason, because there might be enough of this yarn to get me through an entire round. If that saves me from weaving in 600 ends, that would certainly make me happy. And that might be the final round in this video, but it won't be the final round of the project. This is just the start. I have every intention of continuing this over the course of the coming months and years. I gotta be honest though, I'm a little bit bummed that I don't really have any more time to add to this in this video, because as I was getting out the yarn to do my final 2 rounds, I was struck by inspiration. I have this smaller bag inside that scrap bag, and it's just filled with like old granny squares. And I thought something I could do was attach those old granny squares around the outside of this blanket. And if I had to crochet some more, I would crochet some more to fill in any gaps. But I would do that and then continue crocheting around those to extend the blanket even further. Why didn't I think of that before? It doesn't mean I can't do it. I don't have time to do it in this video. I've got to get this edited and uploaded and all that fun YouTube stuff. So that is where we're going to end this one today. Let me know what you guys think of the concept of a forever project. Do you have one yourself that you like to go back to? And if so, what's yours? One issue that I can foresee with a project like this is as it grows larger, you are going to need somewhere to store it. At the moment, that's not an issue for me. I'm just going to pop it down here with some of my other stuff. But yeah, the increased size is going to require increased storage, but at least it won't be an issue for a while yet. So you can go there for now. We won't be doing the hookup this week. Hopefully that's going to return next week. So for now, I'll just say thank you very much for watching this video. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. Like the video if you enjoyed it. Share it if you think it's worth sharing. And I will see you in the next one.